right, thank you. Your next witness.
Your Honor, we call Dr. Alan Blaustein.
All right.
Blaustein.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and I'm asking questions first. I believe I may be the only one asking questions.
All right. All right, thank you.
Can you please provide your full name?
Alan Scott Blaustein.
You're a doctor, correct?
Correct.
And you're a psychiatrist?
Yes.
How long have you been a psychiatrist for?
Since 1987.
And you went to medical school?
Yes.
What medical school did you go to?
Northwestern University.
Johnny Depp was a patient of yours, correct?
Correct.
You understood that Mr. Depp had substance dependence issues, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you recall what substance issues, what substances Mr. Depp had issues with?
Marijuana, alcohol, opiates, I believe.
Did you ever have an understanding that Mr. Depp had anxiety syndrome?
I knew Mr. Depp had anxiety.
And how did you come to be aware that Mr. Depp had anxiety?
She told me that.
Do you recall having any conversation that Mr. Depp was bipolar?
There was some question about bipolar disorder diagnosis, but I do not remember any specifics about the discussion.
Do you recall having a conversation with Mr. Depp about a bipolar diagnosis?
No.
What behaviors did Mr. Depp acknowledge that should be changed?
Certainly his drug use and his turning to drugs to help relieve a lot of the psychic pain that he was experiencing.
In working with Mr. Depp, would you agree that that Mr. Depp had fundamental issues with anger?
I would say that he expressed having issues with anger.
Mr. Depp expressed having issues with anger?
Yes.
Did Mr. Depp express having issues of anger towards Amber?
He expressed having anger towards her. Yes.
Do you recall what reasons Mr. Depp told you as to why he was expressing anger towards Amber?
I can't, no, I'll have to say no.
In working with Mr. Depp, was he ever suspicious of Amber having affairs?
I can recall now he expressed feelings of jealousy, but I don't remember if it was about affairs.
Do you recall any more detail about what Mr. Depp was feeling jealousy toward Amber about?
No.
In working with Mr. Depp, did you see that Mr. Depp had any issues with patience?
Yes, he was impatient.
What is your understanding about issues that Mr. Depp had with Amber?
It was a very chaotic relationship with a lot of fluctuations and ups and downs and lots of difficulty in emotional expressions and lots of anger in both places and high intensity affect and emotional expression. A lot of love, a lot of disappointment, a lot of fears.
Dr. Blaustein, I'm showing you what's been marked as Blaustein Exhibit 3. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Okay. What is it?
It's my invoice billing document.
Okay. This is from your files.
Correct.
And you keep this document in the ordinary course of business.
Correct.
And this billing invoice is for Johnny Depp, correct?
Correct.
And so where it says 10 to 14 from your billing records, would this be is this your understanding the first time you met with Mr. Depp?
By phone, yes.
And in total, if we look at the number of sessions you either met or spoke to Mr. Depp that weren't canceled or he didn't show up, my count, it comes to 18 times you met with Mr. Depp. Does that sound about right?
Looks like 18 times.
Did you have any concerns about any of the amounts of medications that Mr. Depp was taking?
I had concerns about the Adderall that I would have expressed to him.
And what were the concerns about the Adderall?
I don't recall the specific conversations, but I would have been asking about how he was diagnosed to have ADHD, or under what circumstances he would take that, especially if he wasn't currently working.
Did you ever talk to Mr. Depp about what he did when Marilyn Manson would visit?
No.
When you were working with Mr. Depp, did you have any understanding whether Mr. Depp was still abusing drugs and alcohol or not?
Yes.
But you do recall that there were times in your working with Mr. Depp where he had breakthrough uses of drugs or alcohol?
Yeah, that his relative sobriety was not complete, yes.
And that's what you mean by breakthrough usage, that his sobriety, Mr. Depp's sobriety, was not complete?
Well, relative sobriety. Again, I said relative sobriety because he did continue to use marijuana throughout, almost entirely throughout the time that I knew him, with a short time exception, I think. So I called it relative sobriety. Then there'd be some breakthrough uses of other substances.
Okay. And when you say breakthrough usage, just so everyone understands, what do you mean by that?
He was trying to be sober. He was working on sobriety. And by breakthrough uses, I mean sobriety would mean the abstinence of using the substance. And so the breakthrough would be on a particular time he would have used the substance that he was trying to be sober of, abstinent of.
Okay. So in addition to marijuana, in the time you saw Mr. Depp from October of 2014 through January of 2015, there were times where Mr. Depp broke his sobriety with drugs or alcohol in addition to marijuana, correct?
I believe so, yes.
How did you come to that understanding?
He would have told me.
Do you know why Mr. Depp stopped seeing you?
I know he was preparing to leave to Australia to go to work, and I assumed that was the reason.
But he hasn't returned to you since he went to Australia in 2015, correct?
Correct.
And did anyone inform you as to why he stopped seeing you?
No.
Blaustein Exhibit 9 are notes reflecting your care of Mr. Depp, correct?
Correct.
And you kept these notes in the ordinary course of business, correct?
Correct.
And you kept these notes in a file for Mr. Depp, correct?
Correct.
And this is page 1 of those notes from October 2nd, 2014, correct?
Correct. Again, there will be plenty of places where I don't remember, I can't read what they say. They are for my current attention purposes only in these particular notes.
Okay.
And that's what makes them process notes.
In working with Mr. Depp, did he discuss any abuse he received as a child or an adolescent?
Yes.
And do you recall any difficulties that Mr. Depp was talking to you about in his relationship with his fiancée?
No, not from this.
What does it say?
Such a pain in the ass.
Do you recall why he was saying Amber was a pain in the ass?
No.
Okay. And what's the next thing say?
Well, in boxes about his kid's mom.
Okay.
And again, I think I have the word destructive.
What was destructive referring to? Do you know?
I don't know. No, I don't. Something relationship 14 to 15 years, mother of my kids. Out about officially. He didn't want to be his dad. Thinking I'm not abandoning like his dad. And then below kids, it says clear, better. She needed me to be all this. Needed me to be all this week or all this work. I don't know.
Return to the next page. It says page 2.
Yep, got it.
And then what's the next line say?
This violence, rage that we've had over a couple of years.
Okay, and so what is Mr. Depp referring to there?
I don't recall.
So do you recall that in working with Mr. Depp that he spoke about violence and rage in other relationships in addition to his relationship with Amber?
Well, rage and chaos. I don't remember violence, but I do remember rage and chaos. Now, again, the context of this is I had met him at this point. So this is an initial telephone consultation. So to see whether or not he was going to start therapy with me.
But in your working with Mr. Depp, was he talking about rage and chaos with relationships in addition to his relationship with Amber, correct?
Yes.
What other relationships was he talking about rage and chaos?
Again, I don't have the specific recollection, but I think it included the mother of his children, and arguments about not child custody, child care, or visitation, or access to the children. On the left, it says raise 2 kids, 15 and 12. And then below that, she tried to protect me. She tried to protect me too.
You know what that's referring to?
My association now is his sister, but I don't think that's true. I don't have a specific recollection, no. Wouldn't take fear, wake up to fight devil. Wait up to fight devil.
You know what that's referring to? Wait up to fight devil?
I think he referred to a devil as some version of internal depression and chaos that he felt. Something like an everyday phenomenon he felt he was struggling. And I think would label it as a devil.
So Mr. Depp labeled it's something that was internal to him as the devil?
As a representation of something horrible inside of himself, what I would say.
So the devil was something horrible inside of himself, correct? That's what Mr.
Again, I don't think he ever said that, so I'm going to be careful here. The devil was a representation of the battle that he had many days when he woke up with the depression and anxiety and fears that he had.
Did Mr. Depp ever refer to himself as a monster?
Remember the word monster in my office, but I don't know if it's referring to himself or not. Maybe that'll be more revealed as we go forward.
Now, turning to Blaustein 12, which is page 4 of this exhibit. And there's a 3 at the top, correct?